Hi there, my name's Sean Nicholson. I'm one of the product specialists here at Infiniti of Nashua, and I'd like to introduce you to Infiniti's all-new Q50 Red Sport 400. Let's take a look under the hood and see what makes this thing tick. So what you're looking at here is a 3.0 turbo V6. It is actually a twin turbocharged motor that produces 400 horsepower and 350 foot-pounds of torque. So as you can imagine, this thing will really get up and go. Some of the unique features about this engine are the turbos are actually bolted directly to the intake manifold, so that's going to greatly reduce the amount of turbo lag that you have, or that delay that you feel when you're stepping on the gas in any turbocharged motor. And to even further enhance the response, they have a turbo speed fan sensor, so even at higher RPMs, this thing will still crank up and get going with very minimal turbo lag. For some of you people that keep your cars a very long time, some of the great things that Infiniti does with our vehicles is this is a timing chain driven vehicle. So there's no timing belt, the chain is good for the life of the car. To further increase handling, they put the battery and the braking system in the back of the car. One is for safety reasons, and two is again for handling. The more weight behind the center line of the front axle, the better the car is going to handle. Which, by the way, is what our engine is. It's called an advanced front midship platform, meaning that they take the bulk of the weight of the engine and they place it behind the center line of the front axle. That's going to give you more unsprung weight, which again greatly increases handling. Also, when you're braking as well, you're going to have no nosedive in the car. Now, obviously, if you are looking at this vehicle, you are definitely an enthusiast. So, obviously, handling and braking are going to be very important to you. Well, you're not going to have any problems with this car. This car comes with 4 piston opposed calipers in the front with ABS and 2 piston opposed calipers in the rear with ABS. All 4 discs are ventilated. Now, by opposed calipers, I mean that there's an actual caliper on each side of the brake rotor, which is going to give you a more even stop and more quicker stop. Coming around to the rear here, it comes with a nice deck lid finisher, not too ostentatious. It's just enough to let you know that it's sporty. The rear mufflers are tuned as well. You can see that they're a little bit different than our conventional ones. One of the great things about this car is an industry first and only. It has a digital dynamic suspension. What that means is that the suspension is actually electronically tuned for the utmost performance, so it can enhance road feel, it can enhance the flatness of the vehicle, all by digitally and all by electronic. So another great feature and another industry first and only is direct adaptive steering. So what that is this vehicle actually has servo motors instead of wires that it uses to manipulate the front wheels. So what it does is it greatly increases vehicle response, while also at the same time reducing road feedback, such as frost heaves, speed bumps, anything like that. Your steering wheel isn't going to be jiggling while you hit it, which is obviously a very nice thing to have. Now, because this is a sports car, you can well imagine that it has some paddle shifters right here, so you can shift up and down through the paddle shifters. You can also shift up and down using the automatic gear shifter as well, whatever you choose. Now, some of the great dynamic capabilities of this car, this little switch right here, this toggle switch, if you see on the screen, you have all different kinds of modes here. Snow mode, what that is if you're driving in the snow, you throw it on snow mode, it'll greatly reduce throttle input. So it'll even further reduce wheel spin. Then you've got eco mode. And what that will do is 2 things. It will show you, A, if you're driving as economically as possible, and if equipped, it will actually help you to drive as economically as possible by giving you pushback on the throttle if you're accelerating too hard. Then you've got standard mode, which is just your normal everyday driving. Then, now if you're going to have a little spirited driving, you have sport mode. And what that'll do is the digital dynamic suspension will work in tune with the direct adaptive steering, and it will help keep the car more flat. It'll increase the steering ratio, make it a little bit quicker. And then again, if you're really going to tear up some asphalt, you put it in Sport Plus. This will reduce body lean even further by, again, working with the digital dynamic suspension and the direct adaptive steering. So you have all different kinds of modes in this vehicle. Again, depends on what kind of mood you're in for that day. Some of the great things are you've got voice activated and touchscreen navigation. So you can use your voice while you're driving or touch the screen while you're stopped. Really nice. Also, everything else in this vehicle is all voice activated. So if you want to have the radio station on a certain station, all you have to do is hit this button twice. You could SXM 85.
XM85.
And there you have it. If you want a certain temperature, same thing, you just hit the button, tell it what temperature you want, it'll adjust the temperature. If you want to call somebody, you hit the button twice, say dial home. So it's a really responsive vehicle. You have heated seats. Again, you also have heated steering wheel, depending on how you want it equipped. You can get a slew of safety features as well, such as lane departure warning, blind spot warning, lane departure prevention and blind spot intervention, which will actually pull you back into your lane instead of just alerting you that you're leaving your lane. Some of my favorites are backup collision intervention. So if you're backing out of a spot at, BJ's, this vehicle can actually see down your lane. So if a vehicle is traveling down your lane and you can't see it, your car already knows it's there, it's got your back. It'll actually stop for you. Distance control assist is one of my favorites as well. What that will do is if you're driving around the city, this vehicle actually uses a radar sensor and a laser rangefinder in the front of the car that can actually track the vehicle in front of you. So if you're distracted, you've got a couple of kids in the back seat going crazy and they're driving you nuts, and you just turn your back for a second to let them know what's going on, this vehicle is tracking the vehicle in front of you. It can actually sense if you're too close, and it can either slow down or come to a complete stop if necessary. So those are some of the great things about this car, folks. I hope you'll stop in, take a look, and please ask for Sean. I'm in sales.